Hey everybody, it's Eddie Joe on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So we've got a lot of stuff going on today. We've got a ton of stuff. But first, let me just remind you of something. Don't forget to invest in yourself today. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So what do we have going on today? We woke up this morning to Dow futures being down, just a lot of stuff being down. Why? Well, that's because Scott Bessent got on television yesterday and decided to tell the world that, well, if you don't come to the table, we're going to increase the tariffs to where they were April 2nd. Yeah, that was not seen as good. And the market's reacting to same. On top of that, what did we have? We had the current regime go on Truth Social and tell Walmart, I'll be watching you. This is because Walmart said, hey, we might have to pass along some of these costs. And Scott Bessent confirmed that, Walmart said they're not going to pass along all the costs, but they will be passing along at least some of them. Yeah, common sense. So the I'll be watching you comment, does that mean that you're trying to tell companies how much of a profit margin they're allowed to have? Because I could have sworn that's what you said that the other runner was doing, and that would be bad for the economy. That would be bad for business. People might say I'm making a political comment. I'm not. I'm saying this is an economic joke. This is an economic joke, and it's not funny. It is not funny at all. You're going to tell the country's largest retailer, the country's largest employer, I believe, that, they can't mine their profits. My mind on my money on my mind. Straight up. So when I look at that, I kind of go, yeah, And then Scott Bessent went further to say, well, yeah, Moody's downgraded the United States, but remember, this is backward looking, and he blamed it on Biden. And Moody's came out and said, no, we are backward looking, but we're backward looking over a long span of time. And did you not forget that the first Trump regime, debt went up significantly? Yes, it went up during Biden's administration. And it looks like it's going up again during this administration. That's what they're saying. So the downgrade from AAA to AA1 is more than just a little bit of an indicator. It's more than just a little bit of an indicator. What they're saying is that we don't see a plan of action to decrease, the debt. $37 trillion and counting, ding, ding, ding. We don't see a plan. As a matter of fact, what came out of the House committee, I believe it was yesterday or over the weekend, is a tax bill that will make the current tax cuts permanent. And if you don't recall, most of those tax cuts that they're going to make permanent are for the wealthy. They're for the wealthy. Okay. What else does it do? It cuts Medicaid for people out of work. It cuts food stamps. So everything that hits the normal everyday person, they're looking to cut. Right? That's how they justify their other tax cuts, is by cutting services. I don't think that's going to bode well when you merge that with, or couple that with, the idea that you're telling Walmart how much money they can make, how much cost they have to pass along. Wow. All kinds of wow right there. So when we look at the markets going down, this is why. I've been saying it for a while. We need a plan. We need a plan to bring down the deficit, and that is not the conversation that's going on in Washington right now. It is absolutely not. How could it be? We're focused on, those tax cuts. Really? Please remind me how those tax cuts are going to help the everyday citizen. Please remind me why the tax cuts for the wealthy are good for the everyday person. Can somebody tell me that? I don't think there are many people out there that can tell me that. And that's a problem. That really is a problem, right? Sorry, my hands are dry. I got to get to it. So I'm looking at that news, and none of that news is good. None of that news is good. I think the greatest news that we have for today is that the XRP futures ETF is hitting the market. The CME Group, launched the XRP futures trading today, or are launching it today. And that's great. That's awesome. That's great news. But it also reminds me that we haven't seen a single spot ETF get approved by the SEC since the new regime took office, right? Have not seen that. And that's a problem. Yeah, I feel a lot better now. So when I look at this, I'm kind of like, yeah, good news and kind of not so great news. When you look at that, we had a rally over the weekend. Bitcoin was up a bit. All coins were up a bit. And then what happened? Scott Bessent hit, and that's what happened. That's what happened. Panic. So now you're getting people that are saying, oh, don't worry about that Moody's thing, blah, 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 blah. I want you to go back and see when the last time was that the U.S. was downgraded by Moody's. Go look that up. Go look that up. That's significant. That is absolutely significant. You can say backwards looking as much as you want, but they go back over a long period of time, and that's what they're saying to you. Your debt is ridiculous, and you're not doing anything about it. You're not even trying to do anything about it. So how do you think the market is supposed to react? We're just supposed to give you a pass? Is that it? Is that how that works? I don't think so. I don't think so. And remember, back in the day, the current regime billed himself as the debt king, completely living off of debt. And we all know that, that's exactly what the wealthy do, right? Right? They have these massive portfolios that they can get loans on. So they don't live directly off their own money. They live off the loans because you don't pay taxes on debt. Yeah. See how that works? That doesn't work for the common everyday citizen, though. And please explain to me how the wealthy need a permanent tax cut. You probably can't. You probably cannot explain that to me. Cannot explain that to me. Because the money that they spend is not in, the regular neighborhood. They don't spend money there. That's not how that works. So yeah, that's going to be a problem. There are lots of problems that are facing our country that can be fixed. I'm not talking about problems that can't be fixed. I'm talking about problems that can be fixed. Allowing companies to offshore jobs by the hundreds of thousands. Why? For what reason? You're going to say that we can't do that here in the United States? That would be a lie. That would be a lie. It used to be that getting an H-1B visa for somebody was because they possessed skills that were in demand in the United States that we could not fulfill. Could not fulfill. What do we see now? An incredible change in that process, right? And the people that come here on the H-1B visas are basically slaves for the companies that hold those H-1 visas, the companies that sponsor them. It causes a problem. So yeah, we've got issues that can be solved that we're choosing not to solve. We have egg prices that are still almost 50% higher than they were a year ago. Sure, and this is after they've come down to 12%. Think about that. We're not solving the day-to-day, literally kitchen table economics for this country. That's a problem. That is a massive problem. And then you want to know what else is going to affect our bags? AI is absolutely going to affect our bags. There is a new law in the UK that says that AI companies can train their bots, train their models on copyrighted material. Imagine. Sir Elton John came out and said, that is theft. It's criminal. And you know what? I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm not Sir Elton John, Got to give him those props. I'm just saying. I am not Sir Elton John, but I went through the same thing when I used to be on TikTok, which I will probably not ever go back to. But I went through the same thing. People stealing my identity, stealing my work. And this is something where I'm going to take your whole catalog of music and train my AI bot or train my AI model against your work. And then my AI is just going to produce music. It'll be reminiscent of your music, but it's different. It's different enough. And it's like, what? It's copyrighted music. That's theft. So yeah, AI is going to affect a lot of people. I had a conversation with one of my really good friends last night. I mean, we've been friends literally for decades. We went to high school together. And we were sitting back and we were talking about how AI is making adjustments. We also had a conversation about Doge because he was affected by the Department of Government Efficiency or Inefficiency. And he's like, yeah, it's not cool. What you hear on the news about Doge, yeah, that's real. They are trying to screw some people out of their money after they accepted the deal. Wow. Okay. Wow. But then we started talking about AI. We started talking about universal basic income. That's going to be a real thing. The problem is that by the time UBI, universal basic income, kicks in, we'll already have people that would have suffered by not having it. Where are the jobs? I know complete industries that are going to be eradicated because of AI. Now, that's not to say that there won't be new jobs, but AI and automation is going to eradicate all kinds of jobs. People think that, oh, doctors will always have a job. I'm sorry, but robots are more precise. Large, small, fat, skinny, a robot will be able to perform the surgery better than a doctor. Think about that. This is very, very real. You already have long distance surgeries happening. That's aided by robotics, and AI is going to kick in, and then you're going to sit there and go, whoa. I want you to think back. I gave him these ideas. I said, go back. I said, the Dick Tracy watch, that's real now, isn't it? Oh, it is. That's right. The Dick Tracy watch is here. Been here for years. Doors that open when you walk near them, like on Star Trek. Been here for years. Whatever man imagines, eventually man creates. I want you to go watch a movie called Wall-E, WALL-E. I believe it's a Disney flick. And it demonstrates how human beings got really fat and lethargic because AI was able to do it all for them. Bring them food, do everything. And it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not. When the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's going to affect our bags. It's going to affect our bags. You have a digital printing machine that prints houses. And what does that mean? Fact is that you need far less construction workers on that house, building that house, than you do a normal house. Yeah. You see where that's going? Every single aspect of our lives is going to be affected by AI, positive and negative. So the conversation about universal basic income, yeah, that's going to start becoming a louder and louder and louder topic as the years move on. And then we'll have to discuss, with so many jobs leaving the country, going to other countries, those other countries start to level off in terms of you realizing your cost savings, right? We're seeing it happen in India. Oh, and don't forget, there's a possible war. There's definitely, an argument going on between India and Pakistan, two nuclear capable countries. Just saying. This is very, very, very real, right? Now, I also have a comment. So when Apple said we're going to be building factories, in India, blah blah blah, current regime called out, Cook, the CEO, and I sat there and I was like, yeah, but these are plans that have been happening over years. They don't just happen overnight. There takes a lot of planning. There's a lot of planning that goes into it, all that good stuff. And I'm like, great, that's awesome. Thank you for going over that. That's freaking beautiful. But what else happens? NVIDIA comes out and they say, oh, we're going to build out this huge, monster, automation, AI space in Taiwan. I haven't heard jack about it. So now we're picking favorites. So now the current regime is picking favorites. Is that a good thing? Huh. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Good luck with that. We have the Genius Act that there's a couple of things that might happen this week. We're going to be watching Bitcoin. We'll be watching more tariff talk. And I told you guys yesterday, the tariff talk was a big risk. And what happens? We get it from Scott Bessent. And then today, the markets react. The markets are reacting. Now, they might rebound later today, but that saber rattling is a problem. That's what this regime does. And I'm like, oh, did you say that because not a lot of countries are calling you? Did you say that because you're unable to reach deals? Are you saying that because you're trying to make sure that people don't believe that you made the wrong move? Either way, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing, and we've now realized that risk, and the stock market is taking a dip. And we'll go through that when we go through the numbers. Let me just give you a little bit more news. We've got Metaplanet's Bitcoin investment, seeing that company's stock rise 158%. 158%. And they're still on a buying spree. They're trying to completely mimic the strategy of strategy, right? And that's interesting. Somebody tell me what they do for a living. Somebody tell me what they do for a living. What is Metaplanet's real job? Yeah, but a lot of people are going to choke on that for a little while. The Philippines crypto wealth has expanded beyond play to earn. That's right. When crypto first hit the Philippines, everybody was making money based on play to earn games, play to earn crypto games. And now they're saying it's expanding beyond that. Yeah. Asia is picking up faster than a lot of places around the world. Really is. Gate.io rebrands to Gate.com. Actually, just Gate, and Gate.com is the new web address. Interesting, no? You have Solana's Q1 2025 profit increasing, I think, about 163% year over year. I think that might have outpaced Ethereum. Not surprising. Cool. But you want to know what? Arthur Hayes predicts that Ethereum will outperform Solana in the current bull market. I can believe that too. I really can believe that. I really can believe that. Everybody's saying, oh, Solana this, Solana that, Solana. And I'm like, you're sleeping on Ethereum. There are a lot of plans to make Ethereum cheaper and faster. As a matter of fact, there's a plan out there right now to make it even cheaper and more efficient to operate a node for Ethereum. Put out there by Vitalik Buterin. So I'm telling you, people are sleeping on it, and I don't think you should. Meme coins, Pepe and Whiff led that little pop that we had over the weekend, before the drop, for reasons that I've already explained to you. But it still says that Shiba Inu is still going to do well. Somebody asked me about SHIB yesterday. I believe it was Hutanic. I'm a big believer in SHIB. I'm a huge believer in SHIB. Where SHIB is right now, where SHIB was when the market took a dip, when Bitcoin was at 78,000 and SHIB was lower, I was still in the black on SHIB. That's how much belief I had in SHIB. I bought it early. I kept buying. I still buy. Just saying. My kids are buying. Just saying. There are certain things that I will DCA into. Absolutely. Shiba Inu is one of them. Now, you know what we should do? That's right. We should get into the numbers. Let me flip over and get to that. Let me get my notes out of the way. And like I said, Dow futures right now at 312 below. S&P futures down 68.75 below. NASDAQ futures down 329. And, those are big deals. It only says unchanged because it's about to update. So don't worry about that. Then you've got, why the Dow is dropping. I'm not the only one seeing this. I'm not the only one. So what do we get this week? This week is actually a very interesting week. We get Fed speak today. We get more Fed speak tomorrow, right? We get the Richmond Fed president speaking on Wednesday. We get initial jobless claims on Thursday. I believe at some point we're also supposed to get the Fed minutes this week. Powell on Sunday is gonna have a speech. You should listen to that. New home sales on Friday, but I could have sworn we get Fed minutes this week. And I'm not. It's not that I'm expecting a lot to come out of it, but I think you're going to see the reasoning of why there are no cuts this past time, and why we're most likely not going to receive cuts the next time in June. We're not going to get cuts. We're not going to get cuts. And it's because of manipulation of the market. It's because of chaos in the market. Let's not get it twisted, right? Fear and greed index is at 74. I'm expecting it to go down tomorrow. It was at 74 yesterday. It's at 74 today. I'm expecting it to go down tomorrow. We're at $119 billion with total value locked, 119.7, if you want to be a little bit more exact, right? And the way I'm looking at it is I'm just saying to myself, well, I can look at these and I can be kind of happy, excuse me, about where everything is going, right? I kind of like it. Yes, we're down right there. You can see it right over here, right? However, I'm also seeing really good volume. I'm seeing healthy volume. So I'm all right with where it is. We're above 115. I'm happy about that. I'd like to see us back at 125. It'll be a minute. Bitcoin, not moving in the direction that I want it to. Look at where it popped off and where it topped off at. That candlestick. It hit 107. We had a nice pop. Then we had a nice drop down to like 102 and change, 101 and change. And then here we are again, right here. We're just moving sideways. The 200-day moving average, the dark orange one is telling you, we're just moving along sideways. Amazeballs. People need to pay attention to what's going on in the market and keep on top of the news. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately, right? You have to do them in that order. Each one builds upon the previous. Don't believe me? Buy my book, The GMB 3, The Art of Research, Timing, and Deliberate Wealth. It shows you how to apply that strategy of 3 to business, stocks, crypto. And you can also see how you can apply that theory to the rest of your life. Just saying. Just some ideas for you that I'm sharing with you. Then you've got the big board, everything in big, bright red. Big, bright red. Why? Because we had gone up. Things had gone up. That's why we're looking at big, bright red. But when you look at big, bright red, Link is at 15. I think that's a beautiful price. There's so many things on here that I'd like to buy. Not a problem. I look at the numbers here and I kind of go, okay, I can see us moving in not quite the right direction with regard to everything that's there. Then I turn to the GMB crypto tracker and I say, oh, great. Here are the losers, right? Here are the big losers. Brett's down. Peanut the Squirrel's down. Pith Network is down, right? All these losers. You come all the way down to the whole list because I have that 5% rule, right? So everybody on this list is down. Dog with Hat, A16Z, Immutable. I know people have sold Immutable just so they can get back into SUI. Wormhole is down. Athena is down. Pudgy Penguin is down. Maker is down. Maker is like solid, right? Lido's down. Beam is down. Caspa's down. I mean, you just go through the list. Jupiter's down. Fartcoin is down. Everything has taken a little bit of a hit. Everything's taken a little bit of a hit. Look on the bright side of things and you go, well, what's changed on this side, right? And only one, I've never heard of this, Cato. You okay, Stitch? Good boy. So everything, you actually go to almost negative on this list. Nothing's doing well right now. The whole market's is going down. So what would I be doing? I'd be looking at opportunities to buy. Dollar cost averaging is my friend. And then I use dry powder to get in on some of those trades so I can play the volatility. That's what I do. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes, tell your friends about us. And Lex Luthor, good morning. Don't forget to invest in yourself today. Everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.